Hello, folks. It is so good to be back ranking Week 2 matchups before the games get played. This is going to include 16 games as there are no bye weeks yet in Week 2. And let's get started. Number 16, Los Angeles Chargers at Carolina. This should be a Chargers win. Until further notice, most Carolina games will probably rank as the worst watch of the week. We can't even expect to learn anything about their opponent unless they somehow lose. The Panthers looked legitimately awful in Week 1, and I expect that to continue. The Chargers' ground game was effective last week, and that should be the case again here against a bad Panthers squad. The Panthers also lost their best defender last week, so it should just be downhill for them, unfortunately. I think the Chargers will win around 28-9, something like that. Number 15, New York Giants at Washington. New York probably feels awful after losing big in Week 1 to another team expected to be bad. They'll get another shot at a subpar team here, though. I expect Washington to pick up the win, however. Jaden Daniels had a decent day in Week 1, and he should have a pretty easy time at least picking up yards on the ground in this one. The only bright spot for the Giants last Sunday was Malik Neighbors, making a couple of nice plays, so hopefully he can keep playing well, and maybe Thibodeau and the defense can step up a bit. I think the Commanders win 28-3. Number 14, San Francisco at Minnesota. This really isn't about the Vikings being bad, it's more about the 49ers looking dominant. It doesn't matter whether McCaffrey or Jordan Mason have the ball, the ground game should look great this week. The Niners just seem inevitable, and I don't think Darnold and the Vikings can slow them down, even coming off of a nice win. The Vikings may be half decent if Sam Darnold can keep his play up, but I have serious doubts that he can. Either way, I don't think it will matter here against San Fran, who should dominate in this one. 49ers win 38-17. Number 13, Las Vegas at Baltimore. This game is only ranked above the last few just because Lamar and the Ravens are fun to watch. I expect this to be just as big of a blowout as the Niners game. Vegas looked rocky last week, and that was against the Chargers team perceived as a much worse one than this Ravens team. Hopefully Minshew and Zamir White can improve a bit to help make this one at least interesting for a bit. The Ravens should win handily here, however. Ravens win 35-10. Number 12, Indianapolis at Green Bay. Without Jordan Love, this game goes from a pretty dang fun one to pretty dang bad. Anthony Richardson should provide us with some highlight plays, but based on what I've seen from Malik Willis, watching him is going to be awful. I expect the Colts to win here, possibly by a lot. I know that Love technically isn't ruled out, but there's no way he plays. To save this game, Willis has to play the game of his life. This is unfortunate since I was looking forward to this game before the season started. Colts win 31-13. Number 11, Pittsburgh at Denver. This should be a low-scoring, close game. If Denver wants to win, Bo Nix will have to up his play, which I do see happening, although not enough to win here. TJ Watt should continue to eat worlds, and Justin Fields should play passably enough to come away with the victory. Unfortunately, we were likely robbed of the Russell Wilson revenge game due to a calf injury that could keep him out of the starting job for longer than expected, depending on the play of Justin Fields. I think the Steelers win 20-16 and score their first touchdown of the season. Number 10, Seattle at New England. This one may admittedly be ranked a little high, but I am kind of interested in seeing how the Patriots progress after an unexpected Week 1 win. Seattle won last week as well, off the back of some flash plays by Geno Smith and some underperformance by Denver and Bo Nix. This one could be a Seahawks blowout, but it could also be a fun game between two unexpected contenders, depending on how the season plays out. Jacoby Brissett isn't too much fun to watch, but he's a competent spot starter that could make this one a decent game. I think the Seahawks win 27-17. Number 9, Cleveland at Jacksonville. The Browns had an awful time with the Cowboys last week and need to figure something out on offense this week. Meanwhile, the Jaguars started out hot until a Travis Etienne fumble led to their downfall. Both of these teams had disappointing Week 1 losses and, particularly in the case of Cleveland, look mediocre at best. I expect this game to be close and ugly, everyone's favorite. I do think Jacksonville will win here, but I also expect Watson's play to improve, even if marginally. If the Browns' defense lets up, the Jags should win easily. I think the Jaguars will win 20-10. Number 8, New York Jets at Tennessee. The Jets are feeling bittersweet after being utterly destroyed by the 49ers. They are at least happy Aaron Rodgers is still alive, and he made some good plays, although he seems to have lost some mobility following his Achilles injury. Apparently he doesn't have whatever Tom Brady had that made him more mobile as he aged. Tennessee choked away a 17-point lead on the Bears last week and are hoping to take advantage of a Jets team that looks shaky against San Fran. I'm going to go against the grain here and pick Tennessee to win around 24-21. Number 7, Atlanta at Philadelphia. Atlanta's offense wasn't hot like many were expecting, but they have a chance to silence some critics with a tough Week 2 matchup against the Eagles. The Eagles looked okay in Week 1, and the offense really got rolling in the second half, but Jalen Hurts will have to clean up his play a bit if Philly wants sustained success. The defense looked shaky, but I'll chalk it up to field conditions and give them a pass. The Falcons need Kirk Cousins to improve, otherwise they could be in for a long season. Eagles win 24-17. Number 6, Chicago at Houston. I'm putting a lot of trust in an improved Caleb Williams by putting this one up here, but if he does get better, we would be watching a duel between two young star quarterbacks that will be great for years to come. Stroud played well last week and led his team to a win over the Colts, while Williams tried unsuccessfully to help his team lose the game. Williams will probably need to get a couple scores of his own if he wants to beat a Houston squad that isn't as keen on shooting themselves in the foot as the Titans are. Texans win 31-24. Number 5, New Orleans at Dallas. The Saints offense came out red hot last week and will likely need to do the same if they want to overcome a Dallas squad coming off of a big win over Cleveland. These teams each looked like some of the most solid in week 1, although neither of their wins came against a great or even good team. Whichever team wins here will likely rank as one of the better teams, at least until week 3. Dak will probably have to play a little better here, and the Dallas defense will have a tougher test against an offense that is much more dynamic than Cleveland's. Watch out for Rashid Shaheed to have another big explosive play. I think the Cowboys will win, however, 27-21. Number 4, Los Angeles Rams at Arizona. The Rams had a good game against the Lions, but sadly for them it didn't lead to a win. Stafford looked pretty good, but the Rams offense suffered a major blow, losing Puka Nacua for a few weeks. Arizona also played well in a loss, but their offense will need to be just a bit better if they want to win games, since I don't expect their defense to do much. This one may seem a little optimistic, being ranked at 4 and all, but if you watched last week, you would see that both of these teams are a joy to watch. This one should be a lot of fun. Cardinals win 28-24. Number 3, Cincinnati at Kansas City. This ranking relies on the Bengals figuring out that the season started. They suffered one of the most embarrassing losses of week 1 when they fell to the lowly Patriots at home. Now they have to go on the road at Kansas City and have a good chance of falling to 0-2. This is why you have to take what's given to you, Cincy. You'll regret that week 1 loss by the time playoff seeding comes around. Kansas City is looking to keep up their stellar play against a Bengals team that should be playing with a fire under them after their loss last week. If their recent matchups are any indication, Burrow versus Mahomes is usually a good time, but I gave this one a bit of a hit because of Cincinnati's play last week. Chiefs win 30-21. Number 2, Buffalo at Miami. Buffalo has been pretty dominant over Miami recently, but I feel like people don't really talk about it. Tua's record against Buffalo is 1-6, and it's going to take more offense than they had last week if he wants to improve that. Tyreek Hill, who recently had his first run-in with the law, is looking to have another good game, and Devon Achane is hoping to play off coming off of injury. It's already been confirmed that Raheem Mostert will sit this one out. Buffalo started out slow in week 1, but ended with a lot of offense and a great performance from Josh Allen. If the Buffalo defense can get going, they will once again find themselves near the top of the AFC. Bills win 31-28. And number 1, Tampa Bay at Detroit. This may seem like an odd pick for number 1, but these were arguably the two most entertaining teams of week 1. If Baker Mayfield keeps his play up and Mike Evans keeps the clock at bay, the Bucs could be one of the most exciting teams of the year. The Lions are always scrappy and electric and should provide a good show this week in yet another playoff rematch. This time the game is a repeat of the 2024 divisional round. I think the Buccaneers will win 26-21. And that does it for our Week 2 matchup rankings. It's a little bit different style than last week, a little shorter and a little bit more scripted. I hope that this works, and if it doesn't and you want me to change things, once again, feel free to leave any comments or criticisms you have. If you enjoyed, subscribe, and you can stick around for the more heavily scripted and more breakdown style videos after week 2, where I will rank the matchups and the games after they are played and how they actually shook out, and also break down the games and the scoring and what happened there. Thanks, and I'll see you around.